Welcome back to Grand Prix World. We're going to try and get through to the end of the season. Maybe not in this episode, but certainly over the course of today. And then, certainly for the season opener of season 2, we're going to do a proper wet race weekend. So we're going to cover qualifying, we're going to cover the race, and we're going to examine in detail the decisions that we've made and the fruits of those decisions. I gave it some thought last night, and it occurs to me that our financial situation next season is going to be particularly precarious. This is especially unfortunate because we haven't really had much of a testing program this season. I think I'm going to aim for at least one upgrade package next season, regardless. And we're just going to have to hope we can strengthen, particularly the construction and design offices, in order to cope with that. Now, something arising from this is we need to find ways to save even more money. We're already working towards that goal by saving ourselves, hopefully, the cost of a customer tyre supply. We deployed our TV advantage last round, which should give us 3 points. It depends really on your synergy with the people in question. What we see up here is that Bridgestone do have the most money available, but the R&D program for Goodyear is actually better, which suggests they may produce a better tyre next year. As you saw with Esso coming in at the start of the year, tyre suppliers can enter and leave. Michelin are in the game, but they don't always come in. It's a random event. Additionally, the same with engines. So the suppliers that can enter the sport are Toyota and Renault, and suppliers that are in at the moment can also leave. I'm not sure if there's another fuel supplier beyond Esso, but I don't think there is. And what would have been good for us would have been if Michelin had turned up late in the season and we could have tried to snatch them up, but never mind. I'm just going to take a look at the engine Honda provided this year and see where it's at. So far this season it's on par with the Ford in terms of power and reliability. The Ford on paper is the better engine, but we wouldn't have got a partner deal with them, I don't think, given the partners they've ended up with. It might have been better for us to go Peugeot as well, partner deal, if we could have landed it, but I'm looking at the Stiefigkeit again. I'm looking at the rigidity of this engine, and regardless, it's still an improvement in power for us, which was important. The most powerful engine this year was the Mercedes. The most reliable was the Ferrari. The best in terms of heat management was the Peugeot, and I think the Mugen was the best in terms of rigidity. Now, actually, what surprised me is the Mechachrome engine, which obviously is a rebadged Renault from '97. The Mechachrome engine is actually really good, but it vibrates like a complete bastard. And so, once I'd made the decision to go for a partner, you might be wondering, looking at these stats, why did I go for Mugen over Mechachrome? And that's simply the reason that we have a small budget, a small design team. The car for next year is unlikely to be particularly stellar. It's also unlikely to be particularly rigid, particularly well made. And I'd hate to have an engine like that could vibrate the car to pieces, and you'd all get very, very bored quickly, as players often do, with the rear wing failures that come with that. Mechachrome I might keep on the radar for next season. I want to see what engine they turn out, because they don't offer a work supply. And our goal for next season is to gain a work supply, because what we really want to do is, by the time season 3 comes around and we've got that work supply, is we want to be in a position where we can test reliably. And we'll put all our testing into the engine. Again, that's not necessarily optimal, because you tend to get equal or greater benefit, I believe, from having good tyres. So again, it's all down to personal preference and play style. Heart are the emergency option. There is no good reason to take a Heart engine ever, because they don't even offer a partner deal. It's always customer. You get customer and partner deals for Mechachrome, customer and partner for Mugen Honda, and the rest all offer works deals potentially. You might come into a game and start negotiating with Peugeot and see they won't offer you a works deal. That's variable. The information I'm giving you now is absolute. So there is a Peugeot works deal out there. There is a Ford works deal out there. There'll be a Renault and Toyota works deal out there as well if they join your game. But they might not always be willing to put that on the table as an option. So just bear that in mind. Honda, again, it's a reliable mid-team partner. They don't provide a huge amount of upgrades, but they are partial to one or two. And they never offer works deals, but it's a good solid engine. They tend to fit pretty much bang in the middle average of average when you look at consistent performance, and if you're taking a customer supply as well, it's not necessarily a bad option to go for a Honda customer supply, but always go for a partner. They're willing to talk partner deals with anybody, and it's a supplier that can very much save your bacon, as it has with us. I do feel they've been a little bit unfairly treated in this iteration of the game. If the game was set a year or two later, I think 99, 2000, they actually had the most powerful engine on the grid for a while. I do recall seeing Frentzen in a Jordan actually testing out a Mugen Honda qualification engine that was just completely mind-blowing, and he qualified well out of position. So I feel they've been a little bit hard done by in this game, but only in the first season. This is all variable, and these numbers will look different next season. It's just a guideline. And again, like the tyre suppliers, you've got a research and development score here, and what we see is they're unlikely to do very much research and development work next season, whereas Ford are opening their wallets. Right, we've invited the right sponsors, we've spent our advantages, we've done our business in the design office. I think that means it's time to go to Belgium. So I'll set the team orders again. Not expecting a miracle because we're down on power. Oh, we've got a new specification of race fuel with much more power. That's timed impeccably given this is a power circuit, but we're still on the Heart engine, so I'm expecting us to have a bumpy landing. We're coming back down to earth after the double points finish last episode, which I'm still stoked about. That was fantastic. Right, let's see how qualification goes. Deniz holds on to 11th, which is pretty good actually, and actually Salo took 14th last time out. Again, the Saubers really have caught us up. We're in the middle of a Sauber sandwich. Schumacher takes pole. I think that's his first pole this season. Villeneuve for Williams takes second. Irvine is third. Hakkinen fourth. Heinz-Harald Frentzen in Williams is fifth. Coulthard is sixth for McLaren, and then we've got the Benettons coming up in seventh and eighth. From Hill in the Jordan in ninth, and Herbert in the Sauber takes 10th. All the way down at the sad end of the grid, both Minardis are there, and they're half a second, 6/10 off the back of the Tyrrells, which could make sense. Then you've got both Tyrrells, both Prosts, both Stewarts, so we're still ahead of the Stewarts and the Prosts, and we're comfortably ahead actually. I know, Mr. Casino, you were a little bit concerned that you'd placed undue pressure on me to finish that development package. I'd put the pressure on myself. I shouldn't have even done testing really. I was trying to show the game, and you were right in the sense that it would be a dead investment if I hadn't have completed it. And while it's not entirely responsible for the results last time out, it doesn't hurt. And that package could, in combination with this new race fuel and the new hard compound tyres, that could be all that's keeping us ahead of the Stewart and Prost cars at this stage. We're still comfortably ahead of the Stewarts, about 5/10, so it's all good in the hood. Let's talk race strategy. It's raining. God damn it. God damn it. Well, now it's raining. I'm going to leave Deniz on a 3-stopper because we don't know if he's going to stay the entire race distance on intermediate tyres. And I'm not even sure how good our intermediate tyres are. I've been lazy. Yeah, I'm going to leave him on 3 sets of tyres, so a 2-stopper. And I'm going to move Salo onto a 1-stopper. And he's our guinea pig. 22-22. He will be our guinea pig to see if it's possible to make a convincing performance out of a 1-stop race. Normally, at this stage, given how well Deniz has adapted, I'd be more inclined to put Deniz in that position, but I just don't think this is actually an optimal strategy, and I'm just testing the boundaries, and I wouldn't want to hinder Deniz if I wasn't sort of reasonably confident there was an incentive there to do so. So I'm going to leave Deniz on 2 stops, and he'll be fueled a little bit lighter. He should be faster on those stints, so who knows. Away we go. Oh, well, fair play to the lad. He comes in 7th. Solo had an engine failure, so that's his chassis, I imagine, out of the running. We're going to have to drop spare parts on that problem. Bugger. Bugger. Still 5 points clear of Sauber, though, so I think that's a healthy enough gap that we've sealed that 6th position, which should give us a little bit of boost next time. Eddie Irvine has won his first Grand Prix. McLaren and Mobil 1 have signed appears to be a works contract. Both Jordans then finished in the top 6. Williams have picked up the Constructors' Championship. Minardi is now a partner from Peugeot. That's a good move from them. Schumacher picked up the fastest lap. Mika Hakkinen will be driving for Prost. There's a surprise signing for you. Exactly what I said at the start of the season. That's a move where Hakkinen is, I think, the most expensive driver after Schumacher, and that puts a lot of teams off signing him in Season 2, so you can often pick him up for a bargain, and it seems that's what Prost has done. Ferrari had a slow pit stop due to a refueling problem. Benetton have signed with Komatsu. Any of these with us? No. We're still not testing. Apparently that still qualifies as news 14 rounds in. Ferrari have a complete sponsor packet. And Craig Pollock, unsurprisingly, yet again, is the most unloved manager in Formula 1, as ever. Right, what's the state of our cars? Not good. Not good at all. We have heavy wear on car 2 and car 3, and car 2 is now also carrying damage. I really wanted to build a new chassis here. I just did, but drink a smoothie there. I'm sick if you can't tell. Let's see if we can't boost things a little bit. No, we can't. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to drop 20 grand on a headhunter. Couldn't find anybody. Damn it. Right, well, we'll hire someone who's just good. Obviously, someone's quit on us. We'll boost the design team as well ahead of next season. Oh, apparently the team's full. It didn't look like it here. Oh, because I've got 2 star workers, that's why. Anyone for the commercial team? No. There's certain points in the season where your chances of recruiting new people are reduced, and we're in that period now, it seems. The design team is a lot more cheerful, as are the mechanics, but same problem on the construction side. Leo Ress is inheriting a mess, and that was an accidental rhyme, but it's still true. We haven't got a test driver for next season. It might be time to consider our options there, actually. It's a good chance to look at the driver market as well. Everyone is signed. Let's see where everyone's going. Sarlo will go to Minardi, so he's driving with Peugeot power next season. Collard is off to Benetton. It doesn't say whether they've got a race seat or a driver seat, so we'll have to review this again at the start of the season. Fisichella is under contract with Sauber. Wirtz has gone to Jordan. Schumacher will go to Williams. Irvine's gone to Benetton. Badoer has gone to McLaren. Hill will drive for Williams. So that's Hill and Schumacher at Williams. That's a hell of a lineup. Ralf Schumacher is joining Fisichella at Sauber. David Coulthard stays at McLaren. Mick Hakkinen goes to Prost. Ricardo Zonta is presumably the test driver for Williams. Shinji Nakano is coming to us. Esteban Tuero is going to Benetton to partner. Who was it? Collard. And Irvine, I think. Wait. Laurent Ridon goes to Tyrrell. Olivier Panis is off to Minardi as well with Sarlo. That'll be a good team, actually. Very experienced. Trulli's off to Jordan. Sarrazin will drive for Ferrari. Alesi's under contract to Jordan. That means Jordan has a very talented test driver. One of those three. Johnny Herbert has gone to Sauber. Jörg Muller has gone to Stewart. Barrichello's gone to Ferrari. And Magnussen goes to Minardi. Ricardo Rosset is off to Stewart. Takagi stays at Tyrrell. And Andrea Montemini goes to Stewart. So that means all the Williams drivers should have been fired. Frentzen is going to Ferrari. John Newhouse goes to McLaren to replace Mika Hakkinen. And Juan Pablo Montoya is under contract at Tyrrell. So that leaves us very few options. Let's see. Celso Moreira is a reasonably convincing test driver. Got Dario Loretti with his cheeky little goatee beard. Look at that. I'm going to pick up a Brit. I'm going to pick up John Fellows. And that's all I'm offering. He can take that or leave it, because it costs another $500,000 to build a fucking car for the bastard, so... Yeah, he'll start in 1999. Okay, so now we have to decide if we want to be punished now or later. What do I mean by that? Do we want to produce spare parts this round and try and make the cars last through? Or do we not qualify for Monza and keep the cars in this terrible condition and try and squeeze through to the end of the season, thus meaning we can build all 3 chassis this year, rather than trying to build one on the first turn of next year, which will compromise our test program? Interesting question, isn't it? Because the other benefit here is that if we gave the next year's chassis one more round in the oven, we might actually be able to finish the design stage in the wind tunnel. It's also a risk though, because if we develop this car and find our construction team is not capable of building a car in one round, it's game over anyway. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not necessarily devastated if it is game over, because we can start again with a different team. And I'll blast through off screen the first season and we'll go from there. I don't know. I'm going to think about it while we look through the sponsors. What's going on with the sponsors? Excellent. We've got a partner deal for the tyres. It's only one season, which means, we've got to go through this rigmarole again next season. But we'll try and get a multi-year deal next year. I think we need to form, more than anyone else, we need to form a tight partnership with Bridgestone, which means buttering them up at every available opportunity to make sure this is easier next time round and they're more likely to offer us a multi-year deal. Let's sign that, and we'll keep 15% of the staff on there to try and get us a better deal. Danker have given us jack crap. We've got somewhere with Hewlett-Packard and Lear. Is there someone else we can be talking to? It has to be a 2-bar because, yeah, it's not going to happen otherwise. We won't invite them to Monza. We'll keep Bridgestone on there and Lear and Hewlett-Packard because it's guaranteed to be more money. God, this head cold is killing me. By the way, I'm aware that you hear a lot of stuff you shouldn't hear because of how I'm recording these at the moment. I am ordering a new microphone which will take care of all the background noises and other noises from me with my breathing problem and various other gross things. So hopefully, if that's doing your head in, and it would do my head in to be fair, we'll address that in the next week or two. Spare parts on new car, spare parts on new car. Come on man, it's time to step up and make a decision. I'm gonna say I need to sneeze. One moment. Let's. How bad is that wear? It's really bad. One spare part is not going to be enough to get through the season. Okay, the car gets one more turn in the oven. It's a big risk. It's a big risk. What else is going to happen is we're not going to qualify for Italy. Actually, no, I take that back. We won't qualify for Luxembourg. I think that's the best way to deal with this. So you each get one of my precious spare parts. Part of me thinks I should have just built a new car there, but no. Just no. Okay. I think that's everything we can do. How's the team sale going? Yeah. Let's just sell another 1%, so it's 90.10. It's a good price at 145,000. I thought for a second there, a glorious second, we had a new specification of engine, but then I realised that my eyes hadn't adjusted. Okay, let's do it. Deniz takes 10th, Salo stays in 14th, so Deniz is back in front of the Saubers. I think that's down to the Saubers rather than us, and the gap is the size of a bee's penis. That's really close. But it is at least a dry race, which means we can go back to our semi-proven two-stopper, and we can theoretically be 40 seconds slower across the race distance and not actually be punished for it. Bit of a moustache twiddle for you there, for those of you who enjoyed wacky races. You'll come in lap 26, lap 27. For Deniz, fingers crossed. More points from Deniz, the guy's a points machine. I tell you what, I'm feeling super good that we've actually retained him for next year, because this is very, very good prognosis for him next year. I just realised I didn't really go through the qualifying results for you there, but I will go through the race results. It's a 1-2 for Ferrari. Schumacher leads from Irvine with a hefty 11-second gap. Wirtz takes another podium for Benetton, with Villeneuve taking 4th. Our hero Perez is in 5th. And Johnny Herbert takes 6th for Sauber, so they've gained a point as well, but, you know, what's that at this stage? Damon Hill for Jordan takes 7th, Salo comes home 8th, Alesi is a 9th for Sauber, and Barrichello breaks the top 10 for Stewart. And dropping out of the race, Shinji Nakano in the Minardi had an engine failure. They're on Ford power this season. David Coulthard had a suspension failure, hydraulic failure for Ralf Schumacher in the Jordan, electronic failure for Jan Magnussen in the Stewart, engine failures, both Mechachrome for Heinz-Harald Frentzen in the Williams and Giancarlo Fisichella in the Benetton, and another electronic failure for Mika Hakkinen in the McLaren. So both McLarens have a non-finish. That means we probably weren't 5th on merit, but we were there when we needed to be there. You know, to get that 5th, you still had to be in 7th. So fair play, Diniz. Fair play. Yeah, we're well secure in 6th position, which is fantastic news. Now the time has come to build next year's cars. It's really urgent now. Katia Solutions have signed with somebody else. That's shit. We're going to go balls out, and I'm going to put everything spare on this Castrol deal, and then I'm going to throw our success, our recent success, in their faces to see if I can get that 2 million on the off chance. It's too late in the game not to risk it, really. I don't think either of these deals are going to come through, and for that kind of money, why throw away an advantage like that? I could, if I'd wanted, have put that on the tyres and tried to achieve something there. But again, I really don't see what it was going to get us. You know, if we don't get upgrades, that's not exactly different from where we are now. And I'd rather do it to make sure the team survives financially than anything else. So whoever Castrol were talking to before that was distracting them, those people have dropped out, and they've really dropped out. Off to the design office with us. Near us makes no difference. Right thing to do. Build that. Oh, we can build our cars. Can we also get a spare part out? It was about 6% difference. We can get a spare part. Yes. This is glorious. I'm even going to go so far as to drop a bit more cash on a headhunter to see if we can find someone else good. We can. So that's upgraded the construction team for the next round. That's fantastic. That's really a weight off my mind. Designers. The design team's in good spirits, and firing people can disrupt that. And we also have a star worker here. I'm going to swap. No, I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it, actually. Commercial, on the other hand, needs all the help it can get. So I guess that means hiring another good for the moment. And the mechanics, salt of the earth as they are ever, get strengthened by 2. Okay, let's read the news. Another win for Schumacher, pole position for Mika Hakkinen. Diniz makes the news with his cheeky face. Katia signed with Jordan. That's no good. Salo is still unhappy with his car, but he can bite me. Minardi have got a deal with Goodyear, but it doesn't say what kind of deal. Same for Prost, same for Stewart. I think they're all customer deals. And Goodyear have signed with Tyrrell as well, so it's a very Goodyear heavy grid. Tyrrell have gone for Mechachrome power. That's one of the few teams in this game, actually, that, assuming it's a partner deal, that's arguably the best move they could have made. That's really good. We're partners with Bridgestone now, so those other tyre deals were actually customer deals. Sauber and Mobil have signed a joint venture. That's a partnership, not a works deal. Heinz Harald Frentzen got the fastest lap again. John Fellows will be joining us at Arrows. The Stewarts gave off surprisingly little brake dust during their pit stops. Benetton has a complete sponsor packet. Benetton, I think, are going to be championship winners, if not next season, then the one after. And I've been given manager of the month. Get in. Get in. That's excellent news. Normally I'd stop the game here. I'm not actually going to do that because I'd like to press through if I can. So let's get the cars in order, and we need to get our designers doing something useful. There's no point developing any kind of package or upgrading our technology because it doesn't affect anything, so we're going to dump everyone onto an active suspension system. Because even if we don't build it this season, we can build it next season, and we've got it pre-designed, and otherwise we're paying these guys to sit around with their thumbs up their asses. Yeah, the only area we're really weak now is on budget, and so that makes me double glad that we've got 2 paying drivers next season. We're not giving out a single penny for tyres or engine. Engine is actually the most expensive singular thing. I don't know if you saw, but you're talking 7 or 8 million cash for a decent engine supply. We were paying 3 million for the Hart engines, but that wasn't really an option to do that again. Another drink, one moment. I'm not editing this video, I'm sick. So normally I stop when I have to cough or sneeze or generally be disgusting, but not today, you're not that lucky. I've got such a sore throat. Yeah, we need we need more sponsorship than that. We really do. Okay, let's sort the cars out. I'm dropping these spare parts entirely on wear. It's, in the words of David Cameron, the right thing to do. So that's a 1% net gain in wear, which is manageable. I mean, obviously we don't want to be running with any wear if we can avoid it, but, you know, whatever. Same spec of everything as last time. And away we go. 19 degrees and cloudy. Means we should have a boost in engine power at lower temperatures, so that's something. Deniz slips to 12th. Still ahead of a Lacey. Sala holds on to 14th, so still maintaining a convincing gap to the Stewarts. We're 1/10 and a smidge ahead of the Stewarts there. Deniz is still top of our particular pile. Both Jordans out-qualify us. Herbert qualifies well in 9th, actually. My prognosis so far is that I'd say next season constructors will go to Williams and Benetton second, or the other way round. It's very hard to tell, but I would certainly expect to see Sauber leapfrog several teams as well. They're really on the up and up, and I think will be most closely matched next season to Stewart and Jordan. I think Jordan are going to be the big fish in the pond for us. Let's get on to race strategy. Temperature has gone up. And the same as ever it was. Fresh tyres all round. 34, 33 should be the breakdown. And again, I know we're trading on a false economy here. We're relying on our ability to not take pit stops. But don't underestimate how much we've actually been incredibly lucky, because these cars are not particularly well made. I mean, the real Arrows cars were, but for the sake of, you know, a game argument, these cars we're pushing them to the limit in our own way. It is an endurance thing. Let's rock it. Solo takes 9th. Deniz has had an engine failure. That's some damage we can ill afford, but there's only one more round to run. we maintain the gap to Sauber in the constructors. Castrol signed. That was a smart move. That's extra 2 million that we didn't expect to see. Which is good. We didn't see what I mean. If we'd used that money on Hewlett Packard or Lear, we would have lost that completely. This turn is dead. This turn is completely redundant. We cannot now earn anything new. So I'll split everyone off between Bridgestone and Mugen. Actually, what I'll do is I'll dump a bunch of people onto hospitality quality. And we'll invite Mugen, Bridgestone, and Danker, because they're our best buddies. And we'll spend as much money as we can, and we'll put as many people as we can on each of those contracts, in the hope that we gain a cheeky bonus behind the scenes. I'm not holding my breath, but it would be nice to get at least something from Bridgestone, if we could, between rounds. Let's take 5 off you. And have at least 10% on Mugen. And we know what we have to do in the construction office. Build a car. Okay, so we have 2 race chassis for next year. That's good news. We spent $1 million on car construction so far, so it will work out roughly about 1.3, 1.4 million, which is cheap for a new build. So we've had some luck there as well. Taste the vitamins. We have 1 spare part between 2 idiots. Also, we should start a new season with an active suspension design, but it might be illegal anyway. Who gets the parts? Who gets the parts? Deniz gets the points, the parts. He's in car 3, right? And he's going to get it on... I'm going to repair the damage rather than the wear. I'm surprised we made it through actually without having to non-qualify. That would be a sign, I hope, of good fortune to come. Let's have a look at how the car looks for next season. It's a little bit busier, I'll be honest. It's a little bit busier. I must say, I have a fondness for this year's Arrows. I think if you go to the playlist that I linked in my last little snippet video, you get a few shots of this car and it is gorgeous. Our version a little bit less so. Okay, so we've set up all the sponsors, we've repaired the car, we've lined everything up. Let's head off to the last race of the season, make sure we've got no... Oh, we've got a new specification soft tyre. Oh well, in that case... I'm going to do things the other way around. I'm going to put Sarlo on the soft tyre new spec. Give him a chance to show what he's capable of in a 69% one car. To Japan, honourable friends. I'm interested now to see if... Actually, it doesn't matter, it's all academic because it's heavy rain. Deniz qualifies 6th, but he is good in the wet, actually, Deniz. Sarlo takes 13th. Pole goes to Schumacher in the Ferrari, the Rainmaster, obviously. Coulthard and Hakkinen take 2nd and 3rd for McLaren. The 2 Jordans qualify well, taking 4th and 5th. Irvine comes in behind Jordan Irvine comes in behind us and the Jordans in his Ferrari, taking 7th. Heinz-Harald Frentzen takes 8th for Williams, disappointing for them. Doubly disappointing because Villeneuve, his teammate, takes 11th. Jean Alesi takes 9th for Sauber, and Alex Furtz rounds off the top 10 for Benetton. Sarlo comes home 13th, which is an improvement on his previous qualifying. It's heavy rain again in the race. So I'm not going to mess with strategies at all, except to put this cheeky monkey on a one stop, because he's got literally nothing to lose. He's so far back. Everything good there. One big happy family. Lacey picks up a fifth, which closes the gap a little bit, but I don't think it's enough. And yeah, unsurprisingly, with all that wear, the car was like 70% worn. He's had a component failure, Mikasalo, and we had a hydraulic failure for Deniz. I'm really not surprised, and I don't care that it happened in the last race of the season because it wasn't important for us. Takagi makes a driver error. Engine failures for Wirtz in the Benetton and Hakkinen in the McLaren. And there was a fuel issue for Eddie Irvine. Schumacher takes the win from Damon Hill taking second, Coulthard third for McLaren. The top five is rounded off by Hans Frentzen in the Williams and John Lacey in the Sauber. Deniz seals 10th in the Drivers' Championship, and we seal 6th in the Constructors, which is far better than I had anticipated at the start of the season. And we are at the end of the season. Let's read the news. Ferrari have won the Constructors' World Championship. That's unbelievable. Craig Pollock is the worst manager of the year, despite technically on merit finishing ahead of Minardi. And sports journalists and fans have voted Luca Di Montezemolo as the Formula One manager of the year. Not surprising either. We finished the season with 4.3 million in the bank, which is good. That's exactly what we need given our budget problems for next year. Thank you so much for joining me for Season 1. I'm itching to start Season 2, so I'm going to finish the video here, set things uploading, and then we'll move on to the Mugen Honda era. Take care.